Welcome everyone to a Kepler webinar. Today we have something a little bit different. Samantha will be giving a talk on astronumerology. Samantha specializes in psychological and predictive astronumerology. In other words, she mixes the symbolism of astrology with the symbolism of numerology. And she has lectured in many different venues, not just here at Kepler, but she's also been at the International Academy of Astrology and the American College of Vedic Astrology and organizations like the Toronto Group or the Astrology Conference in New York. Today, what we're going to have a chance to see and hear from her is an overview of what numerology is and how it works with the symbolism of astrology and how you can apply this and see for yourself what types of things this can work for. Samantha, I want to thank you for agreeing to do this webinar for us. We're delighted to have you here.
Great. So thank you all for attending my Introduction to Astronumerology webinar. I'm delighted to share with you more about this fascinating field that has been my passion since I was 11 years old. I am actually based in Toronto, Canada, so I'm very glad to be able to share with you all around the world my passion and my research. Since most of you are likely familiar with astrology, I will start today's webinar by giving a brief overview of numerology, and later I will illustrate how we blend astrology and numerology into astronumerology. Numerology dates back thousands of years, with variations of it in most cultures throughout history. Many of the ancient cultures, China, Japan, India, Babylon, and Egypt, were familiar with numerology long before the Greeks and Romans started using it. Pythagoras, a Greek mathematician and philosopher, and generally considered the originator of the popular Pythagorean system, believed that reality is mathematical. He viewed the entire universe as being composed of mathematical patterns and was adamant that all things can be expressed in numbers that correspond to energy patterns of vibrations. It was said that Pythagoras taught in secret, that each student, selected with care, had to go through a 5-year period of perfect silence for the purpose of contemplation to develop a deep sense of faith. Furthermore, his students had to commit his teachings to memory, for it was forbidden to put any of it in writing. It was only after his death, around the year 500 BC, that his faithful followers broke with this tradition. Pythagoras' belief that reality is mathematical, that order is created out of chaos through numbers, is the principle on which numerology is founded. Numerologists believe that everything, including abstract concepts, can be converted into numbers, and that those numbers have specific meanings. By finding the number value of any word or name, you can discover its hidden meaning. Numerology is the study of how numbers influence the personality traits and trends in a person's life. Each number from 1 to 9 and the master numbers 11 and 22 have a unique vibration and energy to them. There are 5 core numbers in a person's numerology chart that are very important in understanding personality traits, likes, dislikes, and purpose in life. These are the life path, soul urge, personality, expression, and birthday numbers. We arrive at some of these numbers using the Pythagorean system. This number system assigns the number value by a sequence of the Western alphabet and uses a number formula based on calculating 1 to 9. For example, letters in your name are converted to numbers, as shown here, and added in several different combinations to arrive at particular numbers, such as the soul urge, personality, or expression number. Numerology is used for several applications, including, but not limited to, describing personality traits. I think it's very important to understand yourself, strengths, weaknesses, inclinations, talents, and motivation. It is also helpful for understanding why other people in our life behave the way they do. I believe that we all dance to the beat of a different drummer, and having an objective system for why people are motivated the way they are gives us a better appreciation of them. Relationship compatibility. Each number has a different level of compatibility with every other number. Some numbers have the best level of compatibility, some have moderate compatibility, and some are not very compatible. When you compare your 5 core numbers to another person's core numbers, you will have some knowledge about the compatibility of the two people. When you have 3, 4, or especially 5 core numbers in common with someone, it is said that it is an especially karmic relationship. When it comes to picking names, numerology is very important because each name will give a different vibration and thus its own unique skills and talents. You would need to align your desired goal with the characteristics of the number to maximize effectiveness. For example, if your goal was to be a successful performer, you would choose different numbers for your name than if you wanted to be a business leader. When starting a business, it is very important to choose its name and launch it on a day that is favorable to you and your business partner so that it has the best chances of succeeding in the long term. When you are arranging important dates, weddings, court cases, large-scale social functions, you should pick a date that is favorable to your core numbers, especially the life path. Also, each day of the month has its own vibrations, which makes it best for doing certain activities. For example, if you're trying to get routine chores done efficiently, try the 4th, 13th, and 31st to maximize efficiency. The world year is calculated by adding the digits of the current year. For example, 2014 equals 7. The character traits of 7 were dominant all around the globe in 2014. When the world year is the same as your life path number, you can be sure that that will be a year to remember. For example, if you have a life path 7, 2014 was likely an especially important year for you. I am now going to talk about the characteristics of each number. Number 1. The positive traits are that they are independent, self-starter, ambitious, assertive, competitive, original, high energy, entrepreneurial, willful, and confident. The negative traits are selfish, insensitive, arrogant, inconsiderate, aggressive, egotistical, self-centered, domineering, and impatient. People influenced by 1 like to blaze new trails, be the first to make original discoveries. They are not afraid to travel where no one else has ventured before. They are like to create their own path rather than following established traditions. Number 2. Positive traits are loyal, sensitive, sociable, helpful, sincere, diplomatic, good life balance, peace-loving, cooperative, nurturing, and flexible. On the negative side, they could be clingy, sappy, moody, dependent, indecisive, try too hard to please others. People influenced by 2 enjoy spending time with other people. In fact, they don't really like to be by themselves for extended periods of time. They like to maintain harmony among people in their lives and do their best not to deliberately create conflict. Number 3. Positive traits are optimistic, philosophical, creative, entertainer, joyful, humorous, articulate, versatile, flexible, generous, and charming. On the negative side, they can take on too many activities at once, overdo things, laziness, procrastination, sarcasm, being too blunt, and melodramatic. People influenced by 3 have a fun-loving nature and like to entertain other people. They enjoy sports and the outdoors. They are very creative and artistic. They also are philosophical and like to discuss these matters with others of like mind. Number 4. Positively, they are dependable, responsible, loyal, realistic, sensible, hard workers, practical, self-reliant, stable, disciplined, and methodical. On the negative side, there can be pessimism, possessiveness, lack of imagination, resistance to change, perfectionism, being argumentative, and narrow-minded. People influenced by 4 are grounded, dependable, and stable. They like routine and want to know what is expected of them, so that they can fulfill their end of the bargain. They are excellent at following through with the practical work that needs to be done for innovative ideas. Number 5. On the positive side, they are curious, logical, quick-witted, versatile, fun-loving, freedom-loving, have good communication skills, bright, adventurous, and have an open mind. On the negative side, they enjoy gossip. There's a tendency towards escapism through alcohol or drugs, for example. Hedonistic, restless, fickle, nervous, scattered, and irresponsible. Number 5 people are spontaneous and cherish their freedom. They like to make bets, take risks, and gamble. They love to communicate with other people and share their interesting stories, especially those related to foreign travel. They love world travel, meeting foreign people, and learning about foreign cultures. Number 6. The positive traits are magnetic, nurturer, appreciation of finer things, entrepreneurial, excellent aesthetic sense, fair, good team player, hospitable, family and home-oriented. The negative traits are that they have trouble receiving criticism, there might be unrealistic expectations, they take on too much responsibility, selfishness, and giving unwelcome advice. Number 6 people love beautiful things and they generally have excellent taste. They are gracious hosts and enjoy inviting others to their stylish homes, which they take great pride in. They are compassionate and enjoy nurturing and helping other people. They must feel that they are doing meaningful work for their community or the world. Otherwise, they often aren't satisfied. And they do especially well when they're self-employed or run their own business. Number 7. On the positive side, they are spiritually connected, intellectual, insightful, observant, intuitive, imaginative, introspective, philosophical, and sophisticated. On the negative side, they can be perfectionists, verbose, fussy, anxious, overanalyzing matters, aloof, judgmental, pedantic, snobbish, and critical. Number 7 people are thinkers. They like to read, write, analyze issues, philosophies, mysteries. Anything that is mysterious or puzzling fascinates them. They enjoy their solitude more than any other number and come up with their best ideas when alone. If they are spiritually or religiously inclined, they devote a tremendous amount of time to thinking about these matters and may even be reclusive. Number 8. On the positive side, they have a good business sense, good providers, confident, competitive, organized, ambitious, high stamina, hard workers, entrepreneurial. On the negative side, they can be workaholics, materialistic, blunt, arrogant, aggressive, stubborn, too status conscious, self-important, insensitive, and careless. Number 8 people are business and power-minded. They enjoy high status, the benefits of having money, and a luxurious lifestyle. They can sometimes be workaholics because advancement and recognition in their career and/or public standing is very important to them. They generally can be very disciplined and are good providers for their family. Number 9. On the positive side, they are humanitarian, compassionate, intuitive, fair, ethical, insightful, authoritative, natural leaders, creative, astute, and willful. On the negative side, they can hold on to past resentments, be critical, intolerant, self-righteous, stubborn, judgmental, impersonal, and suspicious. Number 9 people are interested in global affairs and often have an interest in humanitarian and/or charity work. They are interested in religious and spiritual matters and are quite broad-minded and tolerant of other people's beliefs. They are quite artistic and like the performing and visual arts. Natural-born leaders, they do very well when in charge of people. They like to teach others, especially those younger than them. I'm going to talk about the master numbers 11 and 22, but I just want to provide a short little note. Numbers 11 and 22 have a higher vibration than the first 9 numbers and do contain elevated energy. They are special because people who are able to tune into these extraordinary, inspirational, and illuminating energies have a significant advantage in becoming successful at their pursuits, which are usually unconventional and more challenging than most. However, ultimately, 11 and 22 break down into the numbers 2 and 4, respectively. And if a person is not capable of or willing to work with the higher energy, their characteristics and purpose will more closely align with the single-digit number. In other words, effort and dedication on the part of a person to use the special energy is critical to maximizing its vast potential. When a person has 2 or more master numbers in their 5 core numbers and expends significant effort towards their purpose, the results can really be astounding. Now for number 11. On the positive side, they can be inspirational, charismatic, have spiritual vision, be psychic, mystical, imaginative, illuminating, strong leaders, very bright, and benevolent. On the negative side, there can be escapism, be impractical, deceptive, nervous, self-centered, confrontational, and self-important. Number 11 people are interested in personal growth, spirituality, mysticism, and connecting with a higher power in the universe. They are very imaginative, and their inner world is complete. And because their inner life tends to be very rich, they may not always be that interested in the outer world. They are very intuitive, and may even tap into psychic powers every now and then. Number 22. On the positive side, there is inventiveness, revolutionary thinking, visionary, master builder, wise, trailblazer, genius, charismatic, and original. On the negative side, there can be a rebel without a cause, instability, extreme thinking, delusion, fanaticism, and exhaustion. Number 22 people are visionaries. They are future-oriented and detect trends and ideas ahead of their time. They are good at designing or coming up with ideas for innovative and technological products. They are very original. They hate to be just one of the crowd. They like to be pioneers and blaze their own trail rather than following a set hierarchy. So that concludes the numerology portion. Does anybody have any questions up until this point?
Yes, we have a few questions. The main one is I think people are trying to see how their own names come out. There's some questions about how you actually use a name to come up with a number. Is it name plus surname, full name?
Okay, so I think you should see a slide right now. I went back to the What is Numerology slide, and on here there's the Pythagorean system with all of the letters and numbers. So what you would do with your birth name, the one that was actually on your birth certificate, is take all of the letters and convert them to the respective numbers, and then each particular number, say the personality number, that's calculated by taking all of the consonants in your birth name. So you would add up all of the consonants and you would get a number. So that's how you would convert the names into numbers. And if you changed your name, you would just do the same thing with whatever name you have, but keep in mind that the birth certificate name will always continue to influence you.
Okay, so then someone else was asking if she adds them up horizontally or vertically.
Well, what you would do, for example, say take my name, Samantha. So S, we just look on the chart over here, and we see that S corresponds to 1. So under S, I'm going to write 1. Then under A, again, that's 1, so I'm going to write 1. Then M corresponds to 4, so then I'm going to write 4 under the M. And then we go back to A, that's 1. And then N corresponds to 5. And then T corresponds to 2. H corresponds to 8. And A corresponds to 1. So we would add up all of those letters, and you add up all of those numbers, and you would come up with what the vibration is for Samantha.
So it'd be 1 plus 1 plus 4 plus 1. So you just go all the way through on a just going rather than making any kind of chart like this.
No, this chart is just to show which numbers correspond to which letters.
Okay. So then you would use your birth name, and then if you get married, you would see how the married name may change the number?
Yes, the married name will change the vibrations. If you change your name, you're going to change the numbers that are influencing you. But you can't really get rid of your birth certificate name totally. It's just that you'll have an additional set of numbers that you'll also be influenced by.
So it's like a chart. You have your natal chart no matter whether you move or you do different things. That natal chart is still there.
Yes.
Okay.
So what is astronumerology? The art and science of astronumerology involves the skill of blending the principles of astrology and numerology to arrive at a more complete and accurate assessment than one subject would achieve on its own. Astrology broadly contains 12 signs and 10 planets, including the moon and sun. Our dominant sign is the one the sun was passing through on the day we were born. For example, if you were born April 12th, you would be in Aries. Each planet has an affinity with the number because the traits of that planet vibrate on an energetic field closest to the meaning of that number. There are 9 base numbers in numerology, and then the master numbers 11 and 22. Every other number besides the master numbers would break down to a base number. You simply add the number. For example, 15 would be 6, 1 plus 5. Numbers that break down to the same number share a number of characteristics in common. However, each number from 1 to 31 has a unique meaning. This is because each number is influenced by a combination of 2 to 3 numbers. For example, the numbers 1, 10, 19, and 28 break down to base number 1, but notice that 19 is also influenced by the number 1 twice and the number 9 once. Number 28 is influenced by 1, 2, and 8. So today, I'm going to illustrate the process of combining sun signs, planets, and their corresponding base number. These are the purest types having only a singular influence. I will do this by talking about a planet, then the sun signs it corresponds to, and then the number it vibrates to, so that you can see the similarities between all 3 factors. Astronumerology is a complex field which involves the blending of 12 different signs with 9 different number archetypes. This actually comes out to 108 different base combinations. 108 is a number of great significance religiously, spiritually, and in astronomy. The Earth cycle is supposed to be of 2,160 years, which is 20 times 108. The distance between the Earth and the Sun is 108 times the diameter of the Sun. The diameter of the Sun is 108 times the diameter of the Earth. The distance between the Earth and Moon is 108 times the diameter of the Moon. The universe is made up of 108 elements according to ancient texts. The number 108 is considered sacred in many Eastern religions and traditions, such as Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, and connected yoga and Dharma-based practices. There are 54 letters in the Sanskrit alphabet. Each has a masculine and a feminine, Shiva and Shakti. 54 times 2 is 108. There are 108 beads on a mala used for reciting mantras. This is done to achieve maximum benefit. For pranayama, if one is able to be so calm in meditation as to have only 108 breaths in a day, enlightenment is said to come. The Vedanta, according to the Hinduism tradition, recognizes 108 authentic doctrines, the Upanishad, aiming to approach the truth and to destroy ignorance. According to Chinese and Indian martial arts, Marma Adi, and Ayurveda, there are 108 pressure points in a human body. In Jain tradition, it is believed that there are 108 virtues. 108 sacred books constitute the holy writings for Tibetans. There are several other esoteric meanings of the 108, but I've talked about just a few to give you an idea of its great importance. From these 108 combinations in astronumerology, based on combining the 9 base numbers with the 12 signs, it is made even more specific with each of the 30 or 31 days having its own numerological significance. Therefore, there are 365 combinations, one for each day of the year. The Sun is the brightest planet and has all the planets revolving around it. Naturally, it takes center stage. The Sun changes signs once per month and makes a complete trip around the zodiac's 12 signs in 1 year. The Sun in astrology represents our life force, the essence of who we are at the core. It represents our individuality, ego, and sense of self. This part of ourselves, which varies in its visibility to other people, always is a strong part of us. There are basic drives that form our motivation and natural way of being. Our vitality and where we focus our overall energy is governed by the Sun sign. In fact, the Sun sign is so powerful that when other people ask us what our sign is, we reply with our Sun sign. Sun sign astrology in popular culture could not have endured so long if there wasn't any truth to it. The Sun rules Leo and is exalted in Aries, meaning that its nature is best exemplified in these signs. Leo was a sign that thrives on being the center of attention. They need to feel respected, adored, and admired. They are warm, creative, enthusiastic, and self-expressive, and generally have high self-confidence and vitality. The Sun is exalted in Aries. Aries is a sign that is me first. Their own priorities generally take priority over others, but they are strong leaders, self-confident, and willing to take risks. They have a strong sense of self, are independent, and competitive. Both Aries and Leo thus best exemplify the nature of the Sun. In numerology, the Sun is associated with the number 1. Number 1 people are bold, courageous, competitive, leaders, pioneers, and inventors. These are the people who will venture into the unknown and come up with an original, visionary new idea, product, or service. They are powerful and like to be number 1, literally top dog. They will state their needs, wants, and goals clearly. No beating around the bush for them. They can be short on diplomacy and tact, preferring to have people follow orders without necessarily giving reasons for them. Leo number 1 birthdays are July 28th, August 1st, 10th, and 19th. I've listed a bunch of celebrities here, and they're to show you the purest type that combines the Sun, Leo, and number 1. So they are especially strong with what I just had said. July 28th, Terry Fox. August 1st, Yves Saint Laurent. August 10th, Antonio Banderas. And August 19th, Bill Clinton. The moon shines bright in the sky at night, illuminating the darkness. The moon in astrology represents our emotions, feelings, subconscious reactions, instincts, moods, and what we need to feel comfortable, our cravings and our habits. The moon is known to affect a large number of living things, mostly through changing moods and desires. We will feel quite unhappy if we don't fulfill the needs of the moon, as it begins to affect us on a subconscious level. For example, if your moon is in Gemini, you need to communicate with people, and if you don't have a chance to do this for a couple of days, you can feel frustrated. On the other hand, when you do things that fulfill the needs of the sign your moon is in, you feel renewed energy. For example, if you have the moon in a water sign, being near large bodies of water is very soothing. The moon rules Cancer and is exalted in Taurus. Cancer is fundamentally an emotional sign. Their thought processes are more influenced by their moods and intuition than logical or rational methods. Cancer people are known to be moody, happy one moment and then angry the next. They wear their heart on their sleeve. You will know what they are feeling even if they don't always tell you. They are extremely sensitive, and that is why they sometimes put up a hard outer shell to protect the soft inside, just like the crab, their symbol. Cancer people cherish their home and family, the two most important things to them. Any disruption at home bothers them a lot more than anyone else. They are fiercely protective of their loved ones. They are very nurturing, liking to take care of people and pets. Nostalgic and sentimental, they love to take photos and hate to throw anything away. They feel that everything constitutes a part of their memories. The moon is exalted in Taurus. Taurus people may not be as moody as Cancer people. However, their moon is very comfortable in Taurus, as Taurian people are homebodies whose first priority is family. They are very hospitable, loving to host people at their house and feed them. They are warm, nurturing, and affectionate, loving kisses and hugs. They like to do tangible things to show their love, such as buying pretty little gift or tasty treat for someone. The moon vibrates with number 2 in numerology. Number 2 people are people persons. They are empathetic, excellent listeners, and make excellent counselors and therapists. They care very much about developing close, meaningful one-on-one relationships. They value harmony and teamwork above independence and competition. They do their best work in collaboration with other people. They have a skill for matching people with tasks that best suit their personality so that the finished product represents everyone's best work. Power and status is not as important to them as cultivating a meaningful circle of family and friends to spend time with and create fond memories. Number 2 people must guard against letting their emotions take over their life or becoming so accommodating to other people's needs and forgetting their own. Cancer number 2 birthdays are June 29th, July 2nd, 11th, and 20th. Cancer number 2s include Richard Lewis on June 29th, Pierre Cardin on July 2nd, Giorgio Armani on July 11th, and Giselle Bundchen on July 20th.
Before we go on, there's a couple of questions just to clarify exactly how you're using this. You're using specifically the date rather than the zodiacal degree. Is that when you say Sagittarius number birthdays are November 30, December 3rd? You're just making this what the highest, strongest 3 types would be.
Yes, I'm doing it just to illustrate the pure type so you can see the characteristics, but in reality there are 365 combinations, so you're going to have to blend different signs with numbers that it does not vibrate to. For example, Gemini and the number 8, or Scorpio and the number 2.
So when we get to the ones that are not pure, then that starts adding in the additional complications.
Yes. There are 365 unique combinations, one for every day of the year.
Thank you.
So Jupiter is the hugest planet, containing more than the weight of the 8 other planets. The physical description is very fitting because Jupiter is the planet of grand things done in a huge way. Jupiter represents luck, blessings, good fortune, generosity, happiness, prosperity, optimism, cheer, philosophy, foreign travel, foreign places and cultures, broadening consciousness levels, wisdom, higher education, and religion and spirituality. Jupiter is the planet of rewards, many of them unearned. We get nice things and circumstances when Jupiter makes its 12-year return to the sign where it was when we were born, crosses an angle of our chart, and sometimes when it aspects a planet that it natally had a relationship with. Perhaps people come into our lives and promote us, influential people take an interest in us, we have an opportunity to visit a foreign place we always wanted to, material prosperity comes a little bit more easily, and or we obtain new knowledge that breaks us into a higher consciousness level. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and its traits are best expressed through that sign. Sagittarians are optimistic, cheerful, always seeing the glass half full. They need their freedom, both mentally and physically, and love foreign travel and adventure. They like to expand their consciousness, learning new ways of thinking and doing things from all over the world. They are usually philosophical, spending time with the bigger questions of life, always searching for experiences to deepen their wisdom. Jupiter vibrates with number 3 in numerology. Number 3 people love to laugh and have a good time. They love to socialize, attend parties, and fun events. They are optimistic and believe in the goodness of life and people, choosing to give people the benefit of the doubt. They are articulate and express themselves very well both in person and in the written form. They can sometimes even get animated when they are really passionate about a topic. They are generally warm and generous towards their family and friends. Number 3 people usually have a philosophical, religious, or spiritual bent and spend time in search of wisdom and knowledge to further themselves along the path. However, they do have to guard against coming off as a know-it-all or brushing aside other people's viewpoints if they are not in agreement with their own. Sagittarius number 3 birthdays are November 30th, December 3rd, 12th, and 21st. Sagittarius number 3s include Dick Clark on November 30th, Julianne Moore on December 3rd, Frank Sinatra on December 12th, and Jane Fonda on December 21st. The planet Saturn has been called the most beautiful planet because of its 7 rings. The 7 rings can also be descriptive of the rings or hurdles that Saturn makes you jump through in life. Indeed, Saturn is a hard taskmaster, bringer of obstacles, delays, and difficult circumstances. However, on the positive side, Saturn's experiences can be character building. If the situations are handled correctly, they can be used to develop patience, determination, and endurance. Make no mistake, the experience will not always be experienced as easy or pleasant, but Saturn doesn't put these situations in for no reason. They always contain valuable lessons. Because Saturn is persistent, if we don't learn the lesson the first time, similar situations seem to keep coming up again and again. Saturn symbolizes restriction, austerity, tradition, hierarchy, structure, social status, hard work, achievements, and reputation. Saturn is rules and regulations, things having to be done a certain way. Saturn urges you to build a firm foundation, no shortcuts, easy way outs, or get-rich-quick schemes. Saturn transits are important for the bedrock of your success. If you set a firm foundation, Saturn will bring you much-deserved success. Saturn rules Capricorn and is exalted in Libra, meaning that it functions best in those 2 signs. Capricorn is the disciplinarian of the zodiac. They are ambitious and like to work hard for what they have. They tend to be reserved, formal, and businesslike in their approach. Status and respect is very important to them, and they enjoy being in authoritative positions. Saturn is exalted in Libra. Libra is balanced in all areas of life and seeks justice for wrongdoings. Saturn does not let people get away with their bad behavior. What you sow, you shall reap. Libra's symbol is the scales, and Libra always seeks to be fair, balanced, and just in their decisions, looking at both sides equally. Saturn vibrates with numbers 4 and 8, each number emphasizing a different facet of Saturn. I'll talk about the number 8 a little bit later. But number 4 is stable, methodical, reliable, and disciplined. These are the pillars of society, the hard workers that ensure all the fundamentals are laid down so that society operates efficiently. These people need structure, rules, and regulations, and a hierarchy in place. They respect tradition and will usually continue with the way things have always been. Their motto is, if it isn't broken, then don't fix it. They can operate best in a steady, predictable job working 9 to 5. In fact, they need to have that regularity in their lives. They are very uncomfortable with role ambiguity. They need to know the exact parameters of what you are asking them to do and how it should be done. They are excellent at following through on plans and are unlikely to abandon a project halfway through. They sometimes take on too much responsibility or the burdens of other people. They need to learn how to balance their time so that they have some time to relax and take care of themselves. Number 4 is a number that's actually dually influenced by Saturn, Uranus, Aquarius, and Capricorn. And the Aquarius part of it also comes in with all of the numbers, but is most visible on the 22nd.
I have a question.
Do you have a question? Yep.
Yeah, just trying to clarify a question from a couple of people as to how the planets get assigned specifically to the numbers.
Well, it's a very old system. I'm not sure exactly how it got finalized, but I know Pythagoras set it into motion. So These are the numbers and planet correspondences according to Pythagoras. But if you go into the Chaldean system, there's different number and planet correspondence.
So this is specifically what got set down by Pythagoras, and
yes.
We're not entirely sure of what his logic was.
No, we're not entirely sure because a lot of it he liked to keep secret, and then it was passed down orally, but the students maybe didn't communicate everything there was to know that he might have said.
Okay. And then for Uranus, because of the modern association with Aquarius, is that why you're picking it with the number 4?
Yes, because number 4 is also influenced by both sides. Like if you notice a lot of number 4 people, like Rosa Parks, for example, they have a definite association with human rights and fighting for the underprivileged, and it takes on kind of an Aquarius tone, like the broad-mindedness and the tolerance. So you'll see people who are born on the 4th, 13th, and 31st also having those Aquarian traits to some degree, but it could be stronger in some for the Capricorn and stronger in others for the Aquarius, or sometimes it's a good blend of both.
Okay, thank you.
So the birthdays for this one include December 22nd, 31st, January 4th, 13th, January 22nd and 31st, and February 4th and 13th. Celebrity examples include Julia Ormond on January 4th, Justin Timberlake on January 31st, Jerry Springer on February 13th, and Rosa Parks on February 4th. Uranus, Aquarius, and number 22. The planet Uranus was the first planet to be discovered after ancient times, and the first to be discovered using the telescope. It has a very eccentric tilt on its axis, over 90 degrees from the perpendicular. Again, we find a connection between its physical and psychological characteristics. Uranus is the planet of eccentricity, creativity, offbeat and unconventional interests, revolution, upheaval, shocks, surprises, new technology, rebellion, and shake-ups. People with a prominent Uranus are very independent and want to stand out from the crowd. This can manifest physically, maybe a distinct fashion sense, unique hairstyle or color, or psychologically with a lot of unique quirks. In any case, they hate to be just like everyone else. They don't seek to fit in. They want to change up the status quo, introduce new trends and styles. Nothing ever stays the same with Uranus. When it makes an important transit, our lives are changed very suddenly and dramatically. Out of the blue, the rug was pulled out from under us. Or on the positive, maybe we receive a sudden windfall of money, especially if Jupiter is involved. In any case, Uranus urges us to throw out what was old and not working and make room for the new constructive ways of living. Uranus represents us as a collective, and usually when there are big social changes on a world scale, Uranus is making important contacts. Uranus vibrates to master number 22. In 22, we find visionaries and trailblazers, people who are able to see potentials long before everyone else. They also have the practicality and work ethic of the 4, so they are able to construct a feasible plan of action for making their vision become a reality. They are often called the master builders for this reason. They are inventors and explorers of the world. They see what isn't working and think up creative new ways to solve these voids. They like to venture into unknown territory because they feel that there are always new exciting discoveries to be made. They are also catalysts for societal change and large-scale social movements. They can be very passionate about bringing to the forefront inequalities in society and the needs of underprivileged or disadvantaged groups. Birthdays on January 22nd include Lord Byron, Sir Francis Bacon, and Diane Lane. The planet Mercury, messenger of the gods, is the fastest planet in the solar system. Its orbit is 88 days. Mercury was named by the Romans as messenger of the gods, as it is the planet of all forms of communications. The sign Mercury was in when you were born governs your thought processes, both function and quickness, your interests, and the way you communicate your messages to the world, both orally and in writing. Mercury is very easily influenced by other planets that it aspects, especially if it tightly aspects a planet. That planet will color the way you think and communicate. For example, Mercury in conjunction with Mars produces people who are straightforward, clear, and maybe even blunt in expressing themselves. They say what they mean, and they mean what they say. They will easily get frustrated with people who beat around the bush or take a long time to make a simple point. Mercury in conjunction with Uranus produces people whose thinking is offbeat, eccentric, and out of the box. They are often visionary, seeing ideas and products that are far ahead of the times. They can also enjoy saying things for shock value, seeing how people will react to controversial statements. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. Each of these signs enable Mercury to function well, but for different reasons. Both Gemini and Virgo produce objective, logical thinkers, able to separate fact from feeling, and as objectively as possible, analyze situations. In Gemini, Mercury produces a quick-witted thinker, someone who expresses themselves articulately and in an engaging manner. They are great public speakers and can hold the audience's attention. You will often see Gemini people using hand gestures when speaking. This may be because Gemini rules the hands. For Gemini, communication is their lifeblood. They love talking about a wide variety of subjects, although they may not study any one in particularly great depth. In Virgo, Mercury produces someone who has an excellent mind for both math and science. They are able to understand the rational workings of things. They are excellent at details and anything requiring precision. Virgo is not as expressive as Gemini and communicates in a quieter, less animated way. They don't exaggerate, they stick to the facts and what can be seen, and they are also more concrete and earthy in their speech topics, whereas Gemini is an air sign and enjoys abstract discussions. Mercury vibrates with the number 5 in numerology. Number 5 people are excellent communicators and can be very persuasive when they want to be. They like to express themselves both orally and in writing and have the ability to engage an audience. They also love traveling, both short and long trips, and they love interacting with foreign people and experiencing their culture. They like to indulge in pleasures of the senses. It's probably the most hedonistic number. Number 5 is also luckiest in matters of gambling and speculation, and tends to accumulate wealth more easily than others. Birthdays include May 23rd, June 5th, 14th, August 23rd, September 5th, and 14th. Celebrity examples include Susie Orman, born on June 5th, Raquel Welch on September 5th, Joan Collins on May 23rd, and Halle Berry on August 14th. So before I go on to numbers Venus and number 6, does anybody have any questions?
There was a question whether Halle Berry is September 14 or August 14.
I think she was August 14th. Did someone have September 5th, 14th?
Well, in your list you have June 5th and 14th and September 5th and 14th, but not August 14th. So they were just wondering.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's my mistake. Sorry about that. That should have gone in something else. So that would actually be the ones that I listed there are correct, though. May 23rd, June 5th and 14th, August 23rd, and September 5th and 14th.
So Halle Berry would not be in that list for this particular one.
Yes, she would not be, because her birthday is August 14th.
Okay. That just brings up the question. So it's the month and the day that's giving you your number 5, or it's just the day of the month that's giving the number 5?
Well, your birthday, if you're born on the 5th, 14th, or 23rd of any of the zodiac signs, your birthday is 5. Like if you recall the 5 core numbers I was mentioning before,
right.
There was the life path, the birthday, the soul urge, the personality, and the expression. So the birthday is one of your core numbers, and your birthday is just the day you were actually born.
Okay. But if you were doing the full date of birth, you would take month, day, and year.
And that would be the life path.
And that would be the life path. Okay. We do have a couple of other questions here. So the planets you say you assigned from Pythagoras, but the signs, since you have both Gemini and Virgo, so they are assigned to the number based on their ruling planet?
Pythagoras didn't do astronumerology. He was just numerology, so he just did the numbers bit. But over time, different authors came to associate number 5 with Mercury, Gemini, and Virgo. It seemed to fit very well because they chose the planets because they have very similar characteristics to the numbers. But
Okay.
in different systems, they might change a few numbers around, and different people correspond to different systems. I like using Pythagoras because it seems to work for the majority of people in my practice, it seems.
Okay. So if you were born, I mean, you've got birthdays including, but if somebody was born on January 23, the 23, as you said, of any month would make that the base number being for the day being the 5.
Right.
Okay, because we had that question repeated again. Thank you.
Yeah, so in that case, January 23rd, they would be an Aquarius number 5. So you'd blend the Aquarius traits with the number 5 traits. So that person would probably particularly like abstract discussions, and they would really like to communicate.
So that's part of how you were talking about the mixed, that you have the combination of what sign it is plus the combination of what actual day it is.
Right, and that was when I was talking about the 108 combinations, because there's 9 different number archetypes and 12 signs, so 12 times 9 is 108. So that's the base combinations, and then to make it even more specific from that, each day of the month has its own particular vibration. So there's actually 365 specific combinations. But since that was far too much to cover in this one session, I just wanted to illustrate the purest type so people get a sense of what the traits are and they don't easily get confused by blending in different signs and different numbers that it doesn't vibrate to.
Sounds like a good plan. Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'm moving on now to Venus. Venus was named after the Romans goddess of love and beauty. It is the brightest planet and the only one besides the sun and moon that people can see during the day and night. Thus, it also picked up the name morning star and evening star. Venus represents beauty, aesthetic appreciation, charm, grace, and sophistication. Venus loves to be pampered with luxuries and creature comforts, to live the good life. Venus governs pleasurable social functions, entertainment, parties, artistic performances, and musical performances. Venus also is the planet of love and governs romance, intimate relationships, and marriage. Venus in a man's chart represents who he is attracted to, and in a woman's chart reflects her social nature. The aspects Venus makes influence what types of partners we tend to attract and how we behave in relationships. For example, Venus in conjunction with Mars makes a person extremely passionate and also quite aggressive and direct in chasing someone they are interested in. They are also likely to believe that love must involve suffering and pain. Venus in conjunction with Neptune produces a high amount of idealism and heightened expectations in love, possibly even resembling a fairy tale. They tend to wear rose-colored glasses and put their partner up on a pedestal. But they are also most likely to get disappointed in love when the reality doesn't match up to expectations. Venus rules Taurus and Libra and is exalted in Pisces. Each of these signs best expresses a different part of Venus. Venus in Taurus is the best expression of appreciation of beauty and creature comforts. They take great pride in their very well-decorated home. Taurus is very sensual, delighting in the pleasures of the 5 senses, relishing in fine materials and gourmet meals, for example. Taurus rules the throat, and these people often have pleasant voices, or even singing and musical talent. Venus in Libra focuses more on Venus as the planet of love and relationships. Libra people are very much partnership-oriented. They function best as being part of a team and can be uncomfortable spending too much time alone. Of all the signs, Libra is the most likely to crave marriage. Librans are quite romantic, really enjoying going out on dates, and keeping the freshness of love alive even after many years of marriage. They also have a fine appreciation of beauty and are usually well-dressed and have good manners. Venus vibrates to the number 6, and number 6 people are very interested in marriage and family. They like to have a beautiful home filled with many luxury items. Unlike the number 8, this is not so much for status as it is simply for the enjoyment that beautiful things brings to their senses. Number 6 people make excellent hosts. They love to nurture and are skilled at making people feel right at home. They also love hosting parties. Number 6 people are very compassionate and seek to express their love in tangible ways. They are often attracted to professions involving helping or taking care of people, or fighting for their rights in some way. The influence of Venus also enables them to be successful small business owners, especially if the business centers around a Venusian theme, such as jewelry, clothing, entertainment, perfume, cooking, food, chocolate, sweets, and so forth. Birthdays include April 24th, May 6th, 15th, September 24th, October 6th, and 15th. Celebrity examples: on May 6th, George Clooney, Sigmund Freud, Rudolph Valentino. October 6th, Janet Gaynor, Leslie Moonves, Jeremy Sisto. April 24th, Barbara Streisand, Shirley MacLaine. And October 15th, Emeril Lagasse and Frederick Nietzsche. The planet Neptune was originally thought to be a star by Galileo in the 17th century. It wasn't until 1846 that Neptune was discovered as a planet. This is very fitting of nebulous Neptune, as its nature is very vague and the nature of things it governs are more intangible. In astrology, it represents dreams, fantasies, subtle realms, otherworldliness, mystery, spirituality, enlightenment, compassion, metaphysics, meditation, mysticism, and merging with God as its most positive expression. On the other hand, Neptune also represents substance abuse, addictions, lethargy, depression, alcoholism, forgery, inability to handle real-world responsibilities, deception, scandal, and disillusionment. Neptune rules Pisces and functions best in this sign. Pisces is the most otherworldly sign, and often they have a soft, dreamy, gentle look to them, almost as if they don't really live in this world. Very compassionate, Pisces people empathize with people down on their luck and always try to help, even if they don't really have enough time or resources. They love to daydream and have a rich imagination. They are often talented artistically, especially through nonverbal forms such as sculpture, painting, and dancing. Their intuition is very strong, and in fact, many psychics that I have studied have a dominant Pisces, Neptune, and 12th house focus in their chart. Pisces has a strong urge to merge with the divine, and often tries methods such as meditation and other devotional practices to do this. Neptune vibrates with the number 7, the most metaphysical number. Number 7 people have a marked need for solitude and silence, to contemplate truths and the bigger questions in life. They are usually strongly spiritual or otherwise atheist. Either way, their attitude towards life creation is very strong. They love to be out in nature to reconnect with the natural splendor. It also helps them relax and go deeper within. They love to read, and although not people for idle chatter, are excellent conversationalists on topics that really mean something to them. Neptune also vibrates with master number 11. People born on the 11th are very idealistic, compassionate, and intuitive. They are spiritual beings for whom supporting and teaching others to reconnect with the divine in them is a priority. From a young age, they had interests that were atypical and most likely very advanced for their age, and people probably sensed that they were old souls. They are highly intelligent and have a special interest in esoteric and occult subjects. Anything really that helps them connect with God. Keep in mind that many people born on the 11th are able to access this elevated energy to some level, but some people are not. In that case, they more closely resemble traits of the number 2. A very noticeable difference between 2 and 11 is that number 11 needs a large amount of time alone to think and reflect, whereas 2 does not like to be alone as much, mostly preferring the company of others or team activities. Birthdays include February 25th, March 7th, 11th, and 16th. Celebrity examples include March 7th, Rachel Weisz, Bryan Cranston, Maurice Ravel. March 11th, Rupert Murdoch, Terrence Howard, Jesse Jackson Jr. February 25th, George Harrison, Nancy O'Dell. And March 26th, Chuck Woolery and Pat Nixon.
We do have a couple of quick questions. One is, do you ever use the degree of a planet rather than the date for the sun, or is that getting into some of the subtlety stuff?
Yes, like all of the degrees, I believe, have a different vibration to it, but that's not what we are going to blend in astronumerology specifically. Astronumerology, when people refer to that subject, they talk about the actual birthday that you were born and then the zodiac sign.
Okay. The other question in the Pythagorean material, was Jupiter associated with the 7? Or was that just wondering?
Sagittarius.
Okay, so in his system you didn't have specific planet with Pisces. Is that?
Yes, Neptune. Neptune, Pisces,
well,
and Southern.
Neptune in modern, but I'm just wondering in the Pythagorean system if the Pisces had a different, did it have the Jupiter association or did it not have any association, at least as far as you know?
Oh, okay. So I just want to clarify, Pythagoras was only associated with numerology. So
okay.
He only had governance over the numbers. He didn't have anything to do with the planets. So he
okay.
was not involved with astronumerology. It was only authors after him that started blending astrology and his system of numerology and then assigned the planets with numbers, and then people agreed on which numbers and planets best corresponded. So that's how we came to say Saturn, Capricorn, and 8.
Okay, thank you. The other question is, if you've looked at these celebrities from their astrology side, just a question as to which house system you used when doing that analysis.
The Placidus.
You used the Placidus. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So we will now move on to Saturn, Capricorn, and number 8. If you recall on the slide on number 4, I discussed how Saturn's characteristics co-influence number 4 with Uranus. In contrast, Saturn has complete dominion over the number 8. The number 8 highlights Saturn's need to achieve something long-lasting by sacrificing pleasure now for glory later. Saturn's discipline and persistence are used to pursue goals with a dogged determination to rise to the very top and receive accolades for their performance. Because Saturn is the only influence on number 8, it is a karmic number, one with significant challenges, obstacles, and tests to be conquered, perhaps more so than the other numbers. As a result, number 8 is one of the most resilient numbers. Truly believers in what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Indeed, there are people that are very difficult to keep down because they will keep trying until they succeed. Like number 4, the number 8 represents hard work, but in this case is more directly linked with power, status, and material rewards. Number 8 has luxurious tastes and it is important to them to feel respected and admired, similar to number 1, but the motivation is different. Number 1 wants to be admired for their creativity, self-expression, and leadership qualities. Number 8 wants to be admired for their social status, beautiful possessions, and career accomplishments. Sometimes number 8 can be too serious, depressive, rigid, or not open to new ways of doing things, preferring to do it the way that it has always been done, or the tried and true method. One of their challenges is to take life less seriously, inject some humor, relax, and enjoy life with their family and friends. Birthdays include December 26th, January 8th, and 17th. Celebrity examples include Elvis Presley, Carolina Herrera, and Stephen Hawking on January 8th. On December 26th, Jared Leto, John Walsh, Alexander Wang, and on January 17th, Michelle Obama, Betty White, and Jim Carrey. The planet Mars represents aggression, drive, ambition, the way we show our anger, our desires, our passion, and what really incites us. Mars in a woman's chart represents what turns her on sexually, and Mars in a man's chart shows his ambition and the way he pursues his goals. For example, a woman with her Mars in Cancer will get turned on if she feels nurtured and well protected, such as cooking her a nice meal. A man with his Mars in Aries will be daring and courageous in pursuing his goals. He is a fighter and won't give up easily. Look at a person's Mars sign to see how they will react if you irritate them. Will they do a slow burn, give you the silent treatment, scream at you, or will they skip being mad and instead get even? Mars rules Aries because its full power is used here. Aries is a sign of the fighter or warrior. They will not hesitate to speak up for what they believe is right. If they have a problem with you, they will tell you in no uncertain terms. They will go for what they want with all guns blazing. They thrive on competition and hate to lose. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, where its ambition and willingness to keep going on despite obstacles gains strength. Capricorn is symbolized by the mountain goat. Slowly but surely they aim to reach the top. Mars vibrates to the number 9, and number 9 people are warriors. They like to fight for what is right, especially in getting justice for underprivileged groups. They are very humanitarian in nature and like to volunteer a good deal of their time and or money to causes they find worthwhile. These people make excellent leaders, matching people to tasks that best suit them. Number 9 also vibrates to Pluto. Pluto has recently been stripped of its planetary status because of its small size, but astrologers worldwide know that it packs a very powerful punch. Pluto represents death, rebirth, transformation, sex, regeneration, esoteric subjects, in-depth investigations, intensity, obsessions, compulsions, and power. Pluto aspecting any planet natally will give it an obsessive quality. With Mars, it lusts after power and control. With Venus, it gives fiery, intense emotions and love. Pluto rules Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign that is hardest to read in terms of facial expression and body language. These people are very good at covering up what they truly feel or think. They exude intensity and mystery. They want to know all about others, but do not like revealing themselves. They are very intuitive, though, and can pick up on subtle expressions and body language that most other people miss. These people have a lot of depth in all areas of their life. If they study a subject, they want to know it inside and out. No superficialities with them. Scorpio people crave power and will go to great lengths to get it. However, they cannot stand being dominated. Pluto represents a different side to the number 9 than Mars. Here it is the profound insights, the mysticism, and healing power of 9. Number 9 is very interested in connecting with the divine and is philosophical by nature. It seeks to understand in a non-judgmental manner the real truths of the universe and the more complex processes of human behavior. Here is the teacher. After being a student of the previous numbers, has developed their knowledge and experience and wants to communicate it to the world. Birthdays include March 27th, April 9th, 18th, October 27th, November 9th, and 18th. April 9th is Hugh Hefner. November 9th is Dorothy Dandridge. March 27th is Mariah Carey. November 28th is Owen Wilson. April 18th is Conan O'Brien. And October 27th is Theodore Roosevelt. So this concludes the number and planet correspondence section. Does anyone have any questions so far?
Oh, the question is, you don't really use the birth chart, but the birthday. What they're asking is how you combine the chart with the numerology.
Well, it's quite a complicated process. Like you would look at the chart and you would look at the numbers, and you're looking for repeating themes. Just like within astrology itself, you're looking for repeating themes. In numerology, you're also using it to complement astrology so that you can be more confident in your predictions. So if we're looking at, say, a person's career, for example, the life path number is very, very important in considering a person's career. So we would give deference to that number and maybe a little bit to the birthday number in selecting a career, and then we would look at the 10th house in astrology and so forth. So in those kinds of ways you can combine it. Or if you're looking at relationship compatibility, you would look at the compatibility between numbers, and then you would look at two people's chart and study their synastry and composite.
So if you had repeated numbers in degrees that also repeated, for example, in the number for the date of birth, you would definitely say that, okay, this is a prominent number and can be used to help interpret. Is that what you're saying?
Right. So you would study a person's 5 core numbers. That would take precedence. And then you would study their chart, and then you would see what kind of themes are coming up. For example, is this person more independent, or are they more relationship-oriented? So we would have to see, are the majority of their numbers more independent, or are they more relationship-oriented? Then take a look at their chart and do the same thing with the signs. Like obviously a person who is Aries number 1 is going to be a lot more independent than someone who is a Cancer or Libra number 2.
Okay. The other question is, you do the birth date. Do you also incorporate the birth time in calculating a number?
There are certain numerology calculations that involve the time, but I don't tend to use those as much because I haven't really done much research on them myself, so I tend to use more of the numbers that I personally have research on, but there are such numbers out there though.
Okay, and of course the time is often the iffiest of the, you don't always know if it really was that exact minute, so I imagine it's not
right. And there's
easy.
not also a lot of other people's research out there on that either, so that's why I'm kind of hesitant to use it.
Okay, so just like the zodiacal degree, it's not it can be used as a supplement, but not as prominent.
Yes.
Okay.
So how does learning about astronumerology help one gain better self-understanding? I believe that it's extremely important to understand yourself psychologically on a deep level so that your natural gifts, talents, and skills are put to best use in the activities you engage in, the goals you set for yourself, and the direction you take in life. You need to identify your vision and purpose for your life based on a realistic assessment of your past karma, strengths, weaknesses, gifts, and challenges. Your natal chart in astrology is a snapshot of your karma up until this point. It helps a person understand what they need to do in life to reach their highest potential. It shines a bright light on our true selves, your soul's mission, and your own personal evolution. There are 5 core numbers in numerology. These numbers reveal very important information about your dreams, desires, and mission in life, skills, inclinations, and motivation. When you make important life decisions, such as choosing a career to match with these numbers, you will feel much more fulfilled, rather than just marking time. A person can spend their whole life in search of a happiness that is not really theirs. What I mean by that is that they can spend their life chasing other people's dreams, or merely fulfilling obligations and avoiding their true dharma, their unique purpose in life. This, without question, is a wasted life, a fate that can easily be avoided with a deeper understanding of who you really are, beyond what other people think you to be. Whatever we think creates a reality, and if you don't believe you can do something, even if you have that talent, you're going to start to lose it over time. The chart is a useful tool for honest self-analysis, and it helps you better to manage your time so that you're doing activities that capitalize on your strengths rather than on your weaknesses. How can I use astronumerology to improve my relationships with family and friends? When you study a person's chart, you find out information that they may have never told you, and you can learn a lot of information about them in a relatively short time. By having knowledge of why people behave the way they do and have the personality traits they have, it enables us to interact more skillfully with them. A better understanding of your children, parents, siblings, relatives, and friends will help you to identify the nature of your karma together and best work it out. Also, by understanding the deeper reasons for traits and behavior, it gives an increased tolerance level. Instead of blaming someone for not doing something the way you would have done it, you may realize that they were not trying to annoy you, but that their way of doing something may not work for you, but it does work for their personality. How can I use astronumerology in selecting the right lover or spouse for me? Astronumerology can help us in seeing what types of romantic partners are compatible with us. This is really important because there are some people out there who can pull us up to heights we never even dreamed of, and we are a much better person because they are in our life. On the other hand, some people, although they are not necessarily bad people, can pull us down, make us feel bad, and negatively impact multiple areas of our life. I'm sure you're thinking, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could identify these people so that we could spend our time getting to know them? Well, you're in luck because astronumerology charts hold the key to this knowledge with amazing accuracy and detail. You only need to understand it to understand how your relationship is going to turn out and the dominant themes and trends in it. It's better to be aware of these charts and relationship dynamics so that you understand why the other person speaks and behaves as they do, and why as a couple you interact in a certain way. In astrology, we would use the synastry and composite charts to understand what types of themes are dominant in a relationship, the types of conversation topics, interpersonal behavior, and activities the couple chooses when together. In numerology, the fundamental relationship compatibility is looked at by comparing two people's core numbers, and every number has a unique relationship dynamic with every other number. On a rough analysis, some numbers are excellent together, some are good, some are neutral, and others take significant effort to understand the other. The astronumerology relationship analysis is very important to know beforehand so you understand how much effort you both will need to put in to make the relationship work and decide beforehand whether you are willing to do it. How can I use astronumerology to help me gain fulfillment in my career? Astronumerology can help you guide you into a career that best suits your personality and that you feel best equipped to do. The 10th house in astrology is associated with your career, public reputation, and the traits in you that are most apparent in your public image. You are likely very aware of these characteristics, as people will tend to give you feedback that reflects them. By studying your chart, you come to understand yourself on a deeper level and know what your real strengths and talents are, and you can be guided into a profession which shines a light on you. I believe that everyone is intelligent and skillful. The key is understanding in what area and then pursuing that area with passion. If you choose a career just based on external factors, it will more likely than not end up not fulfilling you and maybe making you unhappy with your life. You can prepare for the times ahead by analyzing your chart and seeing which career directions will be fruitful for you. How does astronumerology provide insight into current and future trends and energies in my life? You can prepare yourself psychologically before a challenging period so that when it occurs, you will be ready rather than being caught off guard, going into crisis mode, and wondering, why is this happening to me? Astronumerology gives you an objective reason for why you are feeling the way you feel due to the current events and energies in your life. It will also give an approximate start and end time for the events and energies so you know when things are going to improve. Everything is happening just as it should to teach us the lessons we need to learn. Every experience brings with it a life lesson and opportunity for personal growth. By being aware of the transits and numbers beforehand, this will enable you to stay more positive, focus on internalizing the lesson at hand, and realize that this event is part of your life cycle and growth. This is much preferable to the unprepared response of getting negative, having excessive stress because you are thinking things will never change for the better, and letting the life lesson evade you. Just as it is important to prepare for a challenging period, it is important to prepare yourself for a pleasant period. For example, when transiting Jupiter or Venus make favorable aspects to your natal chart, they may bring you a lucky break or nice circumstances to some degree. But that degree depends on their strength in your natal chart, which you can't really change, but also to the actions you take at these critical times, which you most definitely can change. Some numerical periods will be more fortunate for you because they vibrate harmoniously with your own numbers and therefore shine a brighter spotlight on your natural talents. In numerology, we have pinnacle numbers, essence numbers in transit, personal year numbers, and the 9-star key system, which is a related system. These numbers help understand the themes and energies upcoming in a given year. Each number has a unique vibration and will tend to highlight different areas of your life. By identifying in advance fortunate periods, you will know when to launch a new project, dress to impress, set an auspicious date for marriage, buy major items for your home, and the list goes on. If you don't take action at these critical times, you're letting countless opportunities pass you by. As you can see, it is very important to identify both lucky and challenging periods in advance to best use the energy and event to your advantage. This brings us to the end of the presentation. Thank you all very much for listening. If you want to learn more about astronumerology or want to get a personal consultation, you may visit my website or email me for further information. My website is www.astronumerologywisdom.com. My YouTube channel also has several short lessons to educate people about astronumerology.
Thank you. We have one last question. Hopefully is fairly easy to answer. Those 5 core numbers, you gave the fact that one of them is computed from the birth date, one from converting letters. What about the soul urge? How?
Okay. Yep. So the soul urge number is taken by taking all of the vowels out of your name. So you would just list your name, and what you could do is put you could put the numbers in different columns. So you could have the consonants, the vowels, and then the entire thing. And you have to check whether the consonants and the vowels add up to the entire thing. So the personality is all the consonants in your name, the soul urge is all the vowels in your name, and the expression number is everything together. So if the personality and soul urge do not add up to the expression number, then you know you've made an error in the calculations.
Thank you.
And you would use that chart that I had there. It's also on my website under the numerology section to convert all of the letters into numbers.
Well, thank you very much, Samantha.
My pleasure.